Hi, my name's Jeff. Everybody say hi, Jeff. You guys always make me feel so welcome. Thank you so much. Grateful to be here with you. If we've not met before, my name's Jeff. I run a nonprofit down in Phoenix called Phoenix One. We help local church staff and their spouses get healthier. But also, I like to give pastors breaks. So when they're like, hey, we have an anniversary weekend, like Scott does, he calls me up and says, hey, could you help me out? And I'm so grateful that I get to do that for Scott and for other pastors around the valley. But I really, really do love this church. I love the work that God continues to do here. I just feel normal here. I don't know what it is about you all, but y'all feel normal, right? Just like normal people. And I love that. I just feel like a realness and authenticity. Every time I come here, like we're not putting on a show here. Everyone's showing up. You guys really do seem to care and love one another. And so I just feel really comfortable here. So thanks so much. You've been in this series. You've been through 12 chapters of Corinthians, this church that is a lot like ours to some extent, our culture. And so Pastor Paul is speaking to us, trying to help us contextualize. We have this great truth. How do we then live it out in this life that we now live and in this Western culture in which we find ourselves in? And that journey, the journey of following Jesus, is a high and low type of journey, but it's trying to find God's faithfulness in the midst of it. And when we come to chapter 13, there's almost like this, we've been waiting for this chapter. Like I was so excited that I got to teach 1 Corinthians 13 because it feels like this moment that we've been building towards. And we have a lot of work to do today. So if you have pencils, if you have your phones, there's going to be lots of quotes up here, lots of scripture up here. You can take pictures of them. We got a lot to go through. But when I was a youth pastor, I'd gone to a camp and I cut the bottom of my foot in a river. And then, camp showers and that whole scene there. Well, I came back and my foot really hurt. And my wife was like, did you wear flip-flops in the shower? And I was like, no, why? And she was like, because they're a bunch of junior high boys, right? And so I was like, it's fine, no big deal. Well, a week later, I'm having a really hard time walking on my foot. It's really sore. And I'm this guy. I don't know if you're that guy, but I'm this guy. Like, it'll be fine. It'll all work out. A couple weeks later, it's not good. A couple weeks later, she's like, you need to go to the doctor now. There's a real problem. I can barely walk on it. I'm kind of hobbling. I go to the doctor. The doctor goes, how long has this been going on? I'm like, I don't know, a month. He goes, you need to go to the emergency right now. I go to the emergency room. They call my wife and they basically say, you need to come in. There's a good chance we're going to have to amputate your husband's leg because he has MRSA. And if you don't know anything about infections, MRSA's bad. It's really bad. And so they take me away and my wife's like, well, I'm either going to have a husband that doesn't have a leg or, whatever. So we'll see what happens. We didn't know what we were going to get when I came out. So I came out of surgery with my leg, but they had to cut a quarter-size hole in the bottom of my foot. The MRSA had started tracking up my leg, but they had to gouge out the infection. They had to cut it out. So I had a quarter-size hole all the way to the bone on the bottom of my foot, and then that had to heal from the inside out. So they had to pack it, and it had to heal from the inside out. That infection would have eventually killed me. It would have moved to my heart. It would eventually have killed me. And then the healing process was not this very fast-paced healing process. It was this healing process that took about 2 months for it to heal. This is when we come to 1 Corinthians 13 of what's happening. What's interesting about this particular chapter is we get all the warm and fuzzies, right? It's spoken at weddings, right? When we come to this, there's like this ethereal, love. It's just love. I can't wait to talk about love. And actually, as Paul's presenting this, he's presenting this to them as a rebuke. It's not a warm, fuzzy, feely thing. It's a, hey, can we talk about love? Can we talk about maybe our misunderstandings around love? How we're not getting this, how we're not doing this, how we're not living this out because God is love. Love exists because God exists. It's who he is. And he is coming to this church and he's coming to this church and saying, we need to have a conversation about love? Are you okay to have a conversation about love? Because within our culture, I believe it is one of the most misunderstood things that we do. In fact, most of what we call love is just full-blown selfishness. And this is what Paul's trying to address here, going, can we just get on the same page with love? And we need to cut out the infection and we need to allow it to heal, because if it heals, it restores and it becomes gospel, becomes good news to the spaces and places you go. And about halfway through this letter, Paul's like, we got to get on the same page. And I want to bring you the simplest truth. Like, he's bringing a lot of different complex things that you've gone through in the last 12 weeks. He's going to bring you a very simple truth, and it's this. If you don't have love, you don't have anything. If you don't have love, the kind of love that he's trying to express here, you don't have anything. Now, there are 4 loves that are talked about in the New Testament. Eros, which is kind of an erotic, sexual love. Storge, which is a family love, a family like that we share with one another, with your family unit. Philia, a brotherly friendship. Philadelphia, it's the city of what? Brotherly love, right? That's philia. But agape is the love that he's talking about throughout this whole chapter. And agape is a love that doesn't change. It's a self-giving love that doesn't demand repayment. It can love its enemies. Maybe Jesus is ringing in your ears a little bit, like, love your enemies. This is the type of love he's talking about. It's a self-denying love that is not defined by emotions, which is interesting because within our culture, when we talk about love, it's like, oh, love. Oh, or where did the love go? We used to have all the love, and now it's gone. Where did it go, right? That is a lot of times we're talking about this ethereal, emotional, oh, this is not what Paul's talking about here. He's talking about something that's not constrained by emotions. Emotions are a part of it. It is an ethic. It is the greatest ethic. And he's trying to bring that to us. So when he comes to us in verse 1, he says to us, if we speak in the tongues of men and angels, but have not love, I'm a noisy gong or clanging cymbal. If I have prophetic powers and understands mysteries and knowledge, and I have faith so that I can remove mountains, but have not love, I have nothing. If I give away all that I have, if I deliver up my body to be burned, but have not love, I gain nothing. I had this guy that worked with me, and he used to tell me all the time he loved me. Love you, man. Love you, man. Love you, man. Every time. Hang up the phone. Love you, man. Leave the office. Love you, man. So one day he goes, why don't you tell me you love me back? And I said, because you tell everyone you love them. It's not special to me. I'm not like, oh, it's just like a goodbye or a hello to you. You've watered down this thing. Paul's going, we've watered down this thing. And in fact, he's talking about, and you could replace anything here. If you've got a lot of money, if you've got a lot of power, if you've got a lot of prestige, you could add whatever you wanted into this category, and you don't have love, you don't have anything. He's trying to prioritize love for us. Because within the Western culture, we're always pursuing after something for significance to prove that we matter. And we find our identities rooted in those things. And he goes, if you keep running down that road, you will find nothing. Because without love, you have what? Nothing. And in fact, he's going to end this by saying, and the greatest of all things is what? Love. Agape, self-giving love. It's who God is. Love exists because God exists, and in him we find that love. So you're going to pursue after all these things, which are an extension of the things that God provides, but it's not him. Because God is love. And he's trying to help us prioritize and get our minds around, wait, we keep running after all these things in hopes that they'll satisfy us, and they don't. So if we don't have love, we don't have any of these things. Josiah Gregory says this, people of little religion are always noisy. I love that. Just so noisy. He who has not the love of God and a man is filling his heart is like an empty wagon coming violently down a hill. It makes a great noise because there is nothing in it. This is Jesus going, you're like whitewashed tombs. You look real pretty, but there's nothing inside. And you got to understand, Paul is trying to convict. And I hope you feel a bit convicted. Where have you placed your value? Because he's bringing that, if you've placed your value in all this stuff, or even people who present this stuff, you will be disappointed. And in fact, he would say, you have nothing. You have nothing to show for it. You're like a cart that isn't rooted down with truth and whatever, right? He's trying to say it's just noisy. It doesn't have any substance to it. And there's a lot of really good things out there. All these things, they're not bad things, right? You having a great 401k, way to go. It's not a bad thing. It's just not eternal. And love is eternal. That's what he's trying to say. There are good things, but only one thing is eternal, and love is eternal. Spurgeon says it like this: love is the only thing we begin now that will continue in heaven. If you want to bring heaven to earth now, if you want to experience heaven on earth now, you will learn love, agape love, God's love that he gives to you. And you will live in that love here, and you will then extend into and enjoy that love where? In heaven with all eternity, with one another and with the Lord. This is what he's inviting us into in this passage, and yet we root all of our identity and everything over here, and he's kind of like, cut it out. It's going to disappoint and hurt you. It's not helping anything, really. They're not bad things. They're just not eternal things. Make sense? So then he's going to go, okay, now that we've set the premise of the priority of love, and that God is love, and that all these things, if you root your identity in that, it's not going to work out. Now let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's get into the nitty gritty. And I have to be honest, I thought I was just going to summarize this. I thought, hey, let's just go through this and summarize it. And I was like, I can't do it. So we're going to have some time where we're going through each one of these, 11 of these things where he says, this is what love is, this is what it isn't. And so we have to learn and grow together. He says, love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoings, but rejoices with truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. We can just kind of whiz past those things without stopping and pausing, but these are the characteristics of love. This is what it looks like. And so he starts off first by love is patient. I always find it interesting when people start lists, what they start with first. And he starts off first with love is patient. Let's just take a poll. Anyone in here struggle with patience? Yeah, it's like a big thing for me. You know how I know that? Because if I'll walk and my kids step on the back of my heel, you ever had this happen? The immediate reaction is, whoa! Like, I don't even wear, is it like a button? Like in the back of my heel somehow, or somebody steps on a flip-flop, right? When you're doing this, you don't turn around and go, oh, I'm sorry, it must have been a thing. It's like, what are you doing? Somebody cuts you off in traffic? Like, where does that come from? That is so deep inside of us, an injustice, a lack of patience. If you're in the line, I don't know if you're like me, but I'm at the grocery store and I'm this guy. Maybe this line will be quicker. Maybe this line will be quicker. Maybe this line will be quicker, right? Just pick a line, bro. Just pick a line. But there's something inside of me, like, it's just lacking that. Well, I then reverberate that over into every other area of my life. And he's like, love, agape love, self-giving love. It's patient. Christendom says it like this. It's a word used of somebody who is wronged, who has easily the power to avenge himself, and yet he doesn't do it. Patience with one another. This is a transcendent thing. This is gospel. This is good news. And Paul starts off there going, are you a patient person? Are you patient with your kids? Are you patient with your husband, with your friends, with humanity? Because that's what agape love does. It is patient. Love is kind. Origin says this, is that love is sweet to all. Is sweet to all. My wife and I were in Oregon this last week in Astoria. Well, we were all over Oregon, but we were in Astoria in this cute little coffee shop right on the waterfront. Absolutely gorgeous, really pretty. And we go in and get this cup of coffee, and then the baristas there, right, were so happy. They were so kind. And we realized how that is lacking in our culture, right? To where when someone's kind, you're not like, oh, right? You just feel drawn into them. Isn't that true? Right? He was British, so that made it easier, right? Because he had that accent, and I was just like, draw me in, right? But he was just kind. I don't even know if they knew Jesus. I just know that they were kind, and that kindness drew me in. He's like, this is what agape love does. The kindness draws us in. It's the kindness of the Lord that leads us to what? To repentance. Not the condemnation, it's the kindness. It's the agape love of the Lord that draws us into the point at which we go, oh, are you a kind person? Are you sweet to all? Paul's like, can we talk about that to the church? There's a problem happening in our church. We're not nice. We're not kind to all. And therefore, we're not proclaiming to the world about who God himself is. Love knows no envy. Clark, he's a commentator, says this, they are ever willing that others should be preferred before them. I've talked to you a lot about India, my time in India, these pastors in India. I remember one time I was going there and I was feeling guilty about being an American and having a home and all these wonderful things. I was feeling overwhelmed by the weight of my wealth, and I don't have much. But in comparison to what they were going through, and so I was lamenting with these Indian pastors, and they said this, please don't. We love that you have a lot. We love that you have a lot. Don't forget us. Pray for us. But we love that you have a great home and a great family. We love that you don't have to go through persecution like we have to go through. And I was like, what is happening in my world right now, right? That does not, I'm just going to say, I don't feel like that exists much in the church or amongst Christians. Where is that agape love? That's not about me and what I'm missing out on, but about what I have, what I've been given, and what a gift it is. He's saying, listen, there's no envy in this kind of love, in this kind of agape love, where you walk around, right? There is no like in your neighborhood going, I wish we were like the Joneses. Like that doesn't exist within agape love. In fact, if you're running after that, you have nothing. That pursuit of that will continue to wear you out. Love does not brag. Barclay says it like this. The real lover cannot ever get over the wonder. I want you to get the wonder that he is loved. Love is kept humble by the consciousness that it can never offer its loved one a gift which is not good enough. I had a guy say to me one time, Jeff, and I was, it was early on in my ministry career. He goes, Jeff, you have nothing, no one to impress. You have nothing to prove and no one to impress. You are loved by the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And that rocked me. I'm not walking around going, love me, help me, serve me, care for me, see me. And then I'm going, look, you have to see me. Let me tell you, do you know where I've been? Do you know where I've preached? Do you know the things I've done in my life? We constantly have to validate our identities to prove to the world that we matter. Like if you have experienced agape love and you don't have to brag. You're like, I'm golden. I'm golden here on earth and I'm golden in eternity. Who wants a fist bump, right? Because I don't have to brag. I don't have to boast. I can boast in the Lord, in his love, but I don't have to boast in anything I've ever done. In Matthew 6, Jesus is talking about this prayer. He's like, don't pray like everybody else, who they have to let it, dear Lord, you are so good, and I am too, right? He's like, don't pray like that. He says this, and I want you to grab on this. they've received their reward. This is how he starts off by going, all these things, they're not, but if that's where you want to root your identity, you've received your reward. Everyone goes, wow, you are so spiritual. That's all you have. But you've missed out from this unique, deep, intimate relationship with the Lord. Like, I don't have anything to prove to anybody. That's agape love. He says love is not arrogant. It's not inflated with its own importance. Thomas Merton says pride makes us, I love this, artificial. And humility makes us real. Do you know what I keep hearing from Gen Z and our millennial crew? We just want authenticity. We just want authenticity. And within the local church, it's part of the way they've resisted against us because we're like, oh, we got it all figured out. No, we don't. And we've actually looked like fools trying to do it. He's like, stop doing that. Stop living like that. Look like Jesus. What does Jesus do? Does Jesus walk in and go, I'm the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, baby. Make it rain. You better serve me because I created you and I'll take you. I brought you into this world and I'll take you out, right? No. He's like, here, give me your feet. Oh, no, but that's for servants. Yeah, I know. Give me your feet. I know I created them. Give me your feet. Give me your feet. Is that the type of posture we have? Is that the kind of love that lives inside of us and that we're leaking out into this world? Is this the love that Jesus had? Paul's going like, we need more of that love. That's what it's not arrogant. It's not rude. John Stott says this, courtesy is love in the little things. Rudeness is the fruit of self-centeredness. I started thinking about these call centers. You ever call and get on the line with somebody who's international and you can't understand them? And there's a part of you that's just like, speak English. That's wrong. They're doing the best they can do. But we're rude to them. I'm rude to them. And I felt the weight of the rudeness. That's not loving. Come down to my level. Meet me where no. They're doing a job. The job that they've been doing to provide for their families. Whether you like it or not, we're called to not be rude. And many of us on those calls are rude. But God is not rude. Love is not rude. And he's saying, can we take a minute and just go, am I rude? And go, woof. I tell you what, I came to that one. I was like, I put the customer service thing down. I was like, I don't want to bring that up in church. But I'm like, I'm figuring it out with you guys, right? Love does not insist upon its own right. Clark says love is never satisfied, but in the welfare, comfort, and salvation of all. The man is no Christian who is solicitous for his own happiness alone and cares not how the world goes so that he himself is comfortable. We have a swear word in our home. We have a few of them. One of them is I can't. Our kids aren't allowed to say I can't. We're like, sorry, that doesn't work in our home, right? Another one they can't say is that's not fair. That's not fair. How many of you have heard this and just the skin crawls, right? And you still have to learn the patience thing, right? That's not fair. This is kind of what he's saying is like love doesn't do that. Like imagine Jesus on the cross going, this isn't fair. Not fair. Look what you guys did to me. It's not cool, guys. It's not cool. No, what love does is love's going, this was never about me. Is life all about you? Is it all about your rights? Living here in the United States of America. Can we all just get convicted about that a sec? This life is not about you. It's about God. We get to participate in this world, in this loving world with God, living out his love, his values. So when you come and go, I can't believe I'm saved. It's the coolest thing ever. How to go tell other people about this? Like that is love. That is love. If it's always about what you don't have, what you don't give, who's taking it away from you, this victim mentality, you're missing it. Paul's like, you guys are missing it. Cut it out. Stop. That's not love. Love is not irritable, never flies into a temper. Barclay says, Christian love never becomes exasperated with people. Oh! How many of you just read that one and went, shoot? Oh, shoot. I feel that with you. I feel that with you. Love doesn't get exasperated. It doesn't get worn out by people, by stupid people. Can you imagine Jesus with the disciples, 3.5 years of discipling these guys, and they all deny him, right? I'd be like, new team. This team is not good. But he doesn't get exasperated. Like in really where we want to go is Numbers 20. And here, God has given Moses this rod. And this rod is this thing that has part of the Red Sea. It's also the thing that has created a war to keep going. And when he dropped it, remember the war, they lost the war. He takes that thing that God's given him, and out of spite for the people, he hits the rock. He's angry. And it's the very thing that prevents him to go in the promised land. It's the very thing. This very thing is the very thing that gets you missing out on heaven on earth right now. Because love is not irritable. Love is not resentful. It doesn't store up the memory of any wrongs received. Love does not store up the wrongs of that has been received. This is an accountant term, right? How many of you in your house, you have that closet? You know the closet I'm talking about. Your house looks great, but you have that closet. Anybody know that closet, right? Where all the other crazy stuff goes, right? This is what we do emotionally. This is what we do when people hurt us or harm us. We take that thing, we put it in a closet, and I want you to know it impacts your love. It impacts your love. It creates a resentful spirit. And then what happens over time is you get jaded. Oh, everybody's going to hurt me. Everybody's out to get me. He goes, listen, that's not love. That's not agape love. That's not God love. And he's like, don't do that. That's not what love is. Pay attention to that. Repent of that. Start pulling stuff out of that closet and going, I got to forgive this person. I got to forgive this thing. Love does not rejoice at wrongdoings. It finds no pleasure in evil doing. C.S. Lewis says it like this: love forgives all things, but it is not blind to sin. It longs for restoration, not ruin. And all I could think about is this couple that got caught at a Coldplay concert. And there's something inside of us, let's just be honest, where we go, that's right. You deserve that, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. You get called out. But my wife and I were talking yesterday about how cruel we're being to these people. Is it wrong? Absolutely. Are we delighting in that wrong? Absolutely. That's not love. That's not loving. You know, on the other side of that sin is a family that's completely destroyed. Is a community, a business. But he got what was coming to him. She got what was. That is not the heart of God. And I'm not saying I got a gold star on this one. Because I would say when I saw that, I was like, heck yeah, that's what you get, bro. How did you not think on a Jumbotron? Like it stirs something up into us until we forget, get inside of my life. Let's get inside of your life. Let's put your life on a Jumbotron. And you're like, no, we're good. This is what I say. Love doesn't rejoice in that. Love wants all humanity to be drawn into the love of God. We don't delight in evil doing. We don't delight in wrong, in rejoicing at wrongdoing. We just don't. And then he wraps up by saying, love rejoices with the truth. Elizabeth Elliot says, love doesn't shield people from the truth. It leads them to it, even when it's painful, because only truth heals. We have become, in my opinion, an enabling culture. And enabling is unloving. If you know there is a problem and you don't do anything about it. So here's married people, this is what I say. We abandon each other to the worst things about one another. And we go, they're never going to change. I've tried my whole life, right? No. It's loving enough to sit down and go, hey, that thing is hurting me. It's hurting us. And I love you enough to tell you the truth. While also being mindful of making sure this huge pillar in your own eye, right? As opposed to the speck in your husband and wife's eye or friend or your boss, whatever it is. Pay attention to that. But love does speak the truth. Like when I was meeting with this guy who was going, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. And, I was like, okay, like a Labrador, I was trying to go, look, here's this truth, is you're trying to look for something from me that I can't give you, only God can. But my wife did that to me our first year of marriage. I talked to you about that, where I just was telling her I love her all the time, and she wouldn't say it back, and it was frustrating. And she goes, your love is not for me, it's for you. And she was right. But she spoke that truth into me. That truth has now formed me. It's helped me. I have to ask the Spirit of God, like, what is that, right? So be truth tellers, but do it with love, right? Some of you love telling the truth without love. Some of you have decided that social media will be the place that you do that. Stop that stuff. Now it's not loving. If you can't sit down with somebody face to face, stop that stuff. Stop. It is not proclaiming good news. It's not. It's just bad news all the time. And we go, oh, but I'm telling the truth. No. We're condemning. And that's not loving. And then he says all these things. He's like essentially, Hebrews 12 goes, look to Jesus, the pioneer and the perfecter of our faith. It's almost like Paul's going like, pay attention to this. Look what Jesus did. And he did these things. Love bears all things. Jesus bared all things. It believes all things. Jesus believed the Father, and he moved forward in what the Father told him to do. He hopes all things. He said, in this world you will suffer, but take heart, hope. I'm working all things together for good, right? I'm moving things together. You'll suffer in this world, but take heart. I've overcome the world. It hopes all things. It endures all things. It has a resilience about it because its foundation, its identity is rooted in God. Love is God. God is love. Love exists because God exists. The closer I get to him, the closer I feel that love, and then I can roll through these things. This is what love actually does. This is how it operates. N.T. Wright says this, agape love is not blind. It sees all the flaws and still chooses the cross. Personalize that for yourself. You can think about Jesus, yes. Personalize it for you. Brother Lawrence said it like this. This is a hard one. Take comfort in the one that holds you to the cross. In the situations that you find yourself in, do I feel a weight and the overwhelming sense of the presence of God to the extent that I can extend it out in the spaces and places and hurts and wounds and things that I go through in this life? That is love. That is what he's inviting us into. And then he talks about the preeminence of love. The preeminence of love. Love never ends. As for prophecies, they will pass away. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part. But when the perfect comes, the partial will pass away. When I was a child, I spoke like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I gave up childish ways. For now we see all in a mirror dimly. But then face to face, just see it. I want you to see it and feel it. Then see face to face, now in part. Then we will fully know. We shall know fully, even as I have been fully known. Barclay summarizes this section by saying this. Our knowledge is still like the knowledge of a child, but the way of love will lead us in the end to the day when the veil is drawn aside and we will see face to face and know even as we are known. We cannot ever reach that day without love because God is love. And only he who loves can see him. That's the preeminence of love. This is Paul going, we need to stop thinking like children and we need to grow up in our love. Because when we look to God and we look to his son Jesus, we see love. The conviction that the Spirit gives us to help us love is drawing us into heaven on earth right now. We are literally, as we love and as we join in love, living into eternity right now, seeing Jesus right now, praising God right now, loving people as he loves people right now, as it is in eternity. That's agape love. That's why we can love our enemies. That is the reality of heaven coming to earth that transcends the way that we as humans operate. And the way we do that is by drawing near to the Lord. And it says, he said he'll draw near to us. The language that Jesus uses in John 15 is this: abide in me, and I'll abide in you. That is consummation language. And I pray that I keep preaching this particular thing the rest of my life, because I spent most of my life following Jesus and almost got sideways because he didn't want me to just follow him. He wanted me to abide in him. He wanted me to experience his love. I was a good Christian soldier doing all the right things. If it had a fish on it, I did it. And it almost cost me my relationship with him because he wanted more. He wants intimacy with us so we can sense and feel and be overwhelmed with agape love so that we can then reciprocate that out into the world. That's why in John 13:35, he says this: by this, all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. We cannot love one another if we do not sense that love and satisfaction in him, which is what Paul is drawing us into. He's going, do you have the love of the Father? The agape love of the Father. Do you experience it? Do you believe in it? Was it more than just a one-time I said yes to Jesus? Was it a way in which you're living your life? That it impacts your identity? That you don't have to go through this world trying to consume everyone else. No, instead, you're reciprocating that love out to where you go. Then people will know Jesus. He says in John 17 that when we become one, the world will know the love of Christ, which is in chapter 12. He's going, hey, in chapter 12 and in other chapters in Corinthians, he's going, there's a disunity problem. I think in the first 3 chapters, he's like over and over going, there's a disunity problem, which means there's a love problem. And it's messing up this good news that is available to each and every one of us that transcends arguments, disagreements, pain, hurt. Love transcends that because love is eternal. Agape love is eternal. If you love for one another, even here, and then that comes out into workplace and your family, it just becomes this very transcendent thing. I'll end with this, verse 13. So now faith, hope, and love abide. These 3. But the greatest of these is love. The greatest of these is love. Agape love. Self-giving love. God's love. Do you have God's love? And has it impacted your life to the extent that you're just giving it away? That's good news. And by the way, that's good news that our world needs. Would you agree? We need that love in this world. And we are the bearers of it. Because if you know God, you'll know love. And if you know love and your identity is rooted in that love will pour out into the spaces and places that you live in. The problem in the Corinthian church and the problem in the 2025 church is that's not happening. And the same rebuke that he is bringing 2,000 years ago, he's bringing once again today on a Sunday morning in Prescott, Arizona. And I am just as deeply convicted by this as I hope you are. So yes, love is beautiful. Yes, it has all these things. But agape love is a sacrificing love. Agape love is a Jesus on the cross, Father, forgive them, they know not what they do type of love. He who knew no sin became sin so that we become the righteousness of God. That is a agape love. And he's saying this, here's the question for you to wrestle through today and for the rest of your life. Do you know that love? Are you living into that love? Because if you do, the fruit, the byproduct, will be the good news going out into the neighborhoods and spaces and places he's called you to. Father God, we need your help. Spirit of the living God, you're teaching us to live and convicting us to live and look like Jesus. Help us. We need your help. Thank you for this beautiful church. Would you continue to challenge them and invite them into your life and your love for your glory? In the name of the Father, Son, and Spirit, amen.